Hey, Clayton, in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus tells us not to be anxious. Is anxiety a sin? The most common command in the Bible, some say, is do not be afraid. It may be the second most common or the first, but it's way up there. It happens hundreds and hundreds of times in the Bible. God says to someone, do not be afraid. But this is a tricky thing to understand. If you are someone like me who has struggled with anxiety in your life, or you're someone who you've got situations that make you fearful, you may look at this and say, oh no, if I experience anxiety or worry, if I have fear about a certain situation, am I sinning? Because it sounds like sometimes when it says do not be afraid, it sounds like every other command in the Bible, right? If the Bible says do not steal, that's a command, right? If it says do not lie, that's a command. If I'm lying or I'm stealing, well, I'm breaking that command. So when God says do not be afraid and we're afraid, are we breaking a commandment? Here's what helps me understand this. I want you to think about the times in your life when you would tell someone, do not be afraid. So I think about my son or my daughter. They come down at night, they're scared about something, they're anxious about something. What do I say to them? I say, oh, honey, do not be afraid. Oh, don't be afraid. Don't worry about that. And what am I doing? If they continue to be afraid after I say, oh, do not be afraid, do I punish them for that? Right? Are they disciplined? Right? Oh, you continue to worry after I told you to stop worrying. You better go take a timeout or you're grounded or something like, no. That's not why I'm saying it, right? It's not the same sort of thing as if I say, do your chores or eat your vegetables or something like that. I expect them to obey that. But when I say, do not be afraid, what I'm really doing is not commanding, I'm reassuring. And that's what I think the phrase do not be afraid or do not be anxious in the Bible is saying. It is God trying to say, you don't need to be afraid. You don't need to fear. This is especially important if you have clinically diagnosed anxiety, okay? You do not need to think, I'm in perpetual sin until I get this figured out. I actually think the opposite is true. I think God has compassion for you, not condemnation. He looks at you like other people in the book of Matthew. He looked at people who were stressed out and had all sorts of problems. He said he had compassion on them like a sheep without a shepherd, right? Like he sees them as sheep without a shepherd. They're people who are wandering and they're struggling and they're worrying where they're going to get things. And he says, I just want to gather you in. I want to take care of you. And sometimes your anxiety is coming from a physiological place. Sometimes it's because you've got ways of thinking and coping with things that you picked up a long time ago that maybe worked for you in the past when you were little, but now you've grown up and they're not working for you anymore. And you need help working your way out of those things. And along the way, God is saying, do not be anxious. It's going to be okay. Not in a way that condemns, but a way that reassures you and tells you, this is what my desire for you is, to be free from fear and to not always have this hanging over your head. Now, there are some times, and I'm going to say this honestly, where worry and anxiety, while they may not be sins in themselves, they may actually reveal an underlying problem in your spiritual life, okay? That isn't to say if you struggle with clinical anxiety or have a situation that's scary that you lack faith, but there are times when persistent worry, persistent anxiety is a symptom of a deeper lack of trust in God, okay? Now, beating yourself up about that is not going to help, okay? What you need to do is not heap shame on yourself, but actually draw close to God and say, this is what's going on. I keep getting scared about this, and I know I'm supposed to trust you, and so I want to bring it to you, not in confession and, what have I done, but in saying, I need your help. I need you to take this away. I need you to take care of the situation. I need you to calm my fear. Cast your anxieties on God who cares for you. Right? Bring your anxieties to God with prayer and petition, and he'll give you peace. Right? The response is not confession and guilt and shame. It is a petition and trust and surrender of those things to God because he cares about you, okay? Those commands saying do not be afraid are not thou shalt nots. Those are thou need not. Because Jesus cares for you, you need not be afraid.
Thanks for listening. If you've got your own questions, email questions@BibleSavvy.com. Like and subscribe to catch our regular episodes every Monday on the Bible Savvy Podcast.